The Butterfly Effect program is a pre-kindergarten prevention program that introduces behaviors and essential skills for a healthy life. The Butterfly Effect program contains a book set that is a very helpful tool in starting discussions about different issues that your child might face. This program may be used as an extracurricular program in a school, or it can even be introduced inside the home. Our dream is to give everyone the tools to create safe and protective environments for our children.
I would recommend this program to other teachers and mentors. I would especially recommend this program to someone who was a first-year teacher in pre-K. The Butterfly Effect has been in my classroom for 3 years. I was excited because someone to come in and help reinforce what I'm already doing, teaching about social and emotional learning with 3-year-olds, just now coming to school. Sometimes they have a little trouble trying to regulate their emotions. So I noticed that they were able to do the breathing techniques, and they were also able to do more of the boundaries, saying what they like and what they didn't like, which would help them calm down and think more about, instead of just having a total meltdown, they would stop. I said, well, what do you do? What do we need to do? And they would stop and think about it and was able to relax and regulate their behavior.
I would most definitely recommend the Butterfly Effect to teachers, educators, really anyone working with young children. I really like the books and the curriculum because there was a variety, and after reading the books, the children were able to then get up and reinforce if they had learned the skill in a way that they got to also have a choice. Like, for example, the book where the children decide how their favorite way to greet someone. Every child got to stand up, and I noticed that the children really thought through the activity and really chose what was best for them.
Honestly, I was really happy, and that's because I am really big on my kids knowing about being able to say no, and I don't think I so much got that opportunity as a kid. So it's really good to have other people outside of me echo that they have choice, that they have boundaries they can set, that they can say no, basically. And even better to have them say it developmentally appropriately, because that's what's hard as a parent. Like, I can say, you have consent. They don't know what consent is, right? So you guys are coming with a child-first approach, and they'll know better than me how to do that.
I think the main thing that was really helpful was Miss Lacey, her teacher, and I had a lot of conversations when they were starting the program, and I was able to reinforce some of the same language that they were using in the classroom, and then I could take it home and use it so that Winnie understood what we were talking about. That was really helpful. The other thing was, it was good for me to have the same language, like I said, that I knew she was getting in the classroom to use with her siblings. She has 2 sisters at home too, so we were able to kind of practice it at home as well.
My initial thoughts when I heard about the program starting with my daughter, I thought it was exciting because it's something that maybe it's things that I don't think about that will incorporate in her life. So that's something that I really liked, because it's stuff that after we get the paperwork, like, I realized, oh, this is some important things that we should talk to them about, but yet we don't. I actually did see changes in her behavior, because before, her dad would go like hug her, mess with her, and she got to a point where she was like, no, stop. So she was putting boundaries, and I actually talked to her teacher about it, and that's when, I found out that she was learning it through the Butterfly program. So I was like, oh, like, I really like that, because she learned her boundaries, and her dad learned boundaries too, so that was really amazing.
I would completely recommend this program. One of my main things as a parent is to teach kindness and being kind to yourself and kind to others, and one of the big things about showing kindness to yourself and others is learning those boundaries and how to respect yourself and others. So I completely endorse it, love it so much, and love that they're getting the language at this early age to be able to know what that means in kid terms. A couple of changes or phrases that he has started saying this week that kind of caught me, not off guard, but just made me happy hearing them was in the car going home one day this week, he said, did you know saying stop isn't being mean? And I said, it's not. What does it mean when you say stop? And he said, it just means that you don't want them to do that right then. And I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of like a boundary. Have you heard that word? He said, yeah, I did hear that word this week. And so it just started the conversation when he said that, and it made me so happy.
I would definitely recommend this to other administrators, and the main thing I would say it's age appropriate. The kids enjoy it, and it's easy. It doesn't take anything away from what you're already doing. It's just giving the kids tools to be able to identify how they're feeling. Well, we've seen a safer environment for the whole school already, simply because they are made aware of their surroundings, and they know what is appropriate and what isn't when it comes to playing or touching each other or just giving people room and respecting their wishes on that.
In their behavior, they're more conscious of each other and not so much going into somebody's bubble. They're more conscious of how it makes the other person feel and asking first.
Sometimes some books that could be read might be too wordy, but I feel like these current books that were used this year were good. I don't feel like they were too lengthy for the 3-year-old class, which we have this year. And I think the activities were great as well. I actually really enjoyed the days with the activities even more. So, and the songs, I love all the songs. The benefit for the teachers could be, maybe they're not sure how to teach some of those concepts or introduce some of those concepts. So, having more, knowing what to do, what to say, like how to teach them those concepts.
Every morning we have a greeter, so when we come in our classroom, we have a child and that's their job. And so we kind of had to stop and pivot and make sure that the greeter was comfortable with a fist bump, with a wave, with a hug, a high five. And if they weren't, we would tell our students, okay, here are your 3 choices that you can choose from today, because we want to honor this friend and also honor you. And so that was something that I had to change a little bit differently. And reflecting back on it, I could see there were instances when the greeter kind of felt uncomfortable when people would pick a hug because they did not have a voice in that situation. So that if we're asking them to do this in the classroom with their boundaries, how can we also honor that as well, where it's not confusing for them?
Now, I did have a parent prior. This child now is in 1st grade that every week she would ask, do you have the newsletter or the papers or whatever they did from Butterfly Effect? And she would say that it really helped her child. Her child had a lot of issues with social and emotional, and she would say that those things really helped her child, so she looked forward to them.
The take-home newsletters I think was really, really good, because we were able to see at home what was going on, what she did in school. So I feel like that was something, because I can ask her so much, but there's so much she can tell me. So with the newsletter, I feel like it's really amazing. Like, we actually get to know, especially like the last one we got where it has a song, like we can play it in the car and like she still gets to enjoy it. So I really, really like that. I enjoy that.
I love them. I love knowing what books they're reading during the class, not even just this week, but all weeks. The handouts and everything like that, the language is so geared towards this age group, to the 4-year-olds, that I didn't, as a first-time mom, necessarily have. And so just knowing, oh, he does understand what a boundary is in this way. If we explain it through this book or this recommendation, it is such a, gift.
First of all, it's really well written. It's in good sections. But what really helps me is knowing what to talk about, right? You can ask them, hey, what'd you learn today? They don't really remember. You have to prime them. So I have to read the newsletter to say, oh, you learned that you can say no, or you learned about big emotions today. What are your big emotions? One of the reasons I'm big on consent is that I used to be a counselor for adults who had experienced sexual abuse as children. So I already was going to teach my kids the right body parts and, following your intuition when you meet strangers. But what we really know is that it's usually not a stranger, number one, that they have a lot of manipulation and power. So the earlier you can teach a kid that they have the ability to say no, the more power that holds as they grow up. And so for me, it was really important. But again, I didn't know how to do it developmentally correctly, right? Because I worked with adults. I did not work with children. So this, to me, is a powerful way to set up that future of being really clear about what you're allowed to say, what your body can feel, all of those things, and protect you from things you don't want later on in life.
We had an experience this summer in our 2 summers ago in our family, like with a cousin, where something had happened. to her, and she's a teenager now. And it made me really think back. I'm glad that at a young age, my daughter had a chance, and I have a chance to give children a voice that we do have a bubble. We do have boundaries. We can say no.
I think there's so much information out there for parents to read and to access, but it's hard to sift through it and understand it all. And this program that allows you, the parent, to work with the teacher and use similar language and practice something at school and then bring it home and practice it at home and knowing that you're doing it together is very helpful and supportive. And I think that is something that every parent needs, whether they know it or not. And I think we can all benefit from it.
Are you interested in creating protective spaces in your community? Please reach out to butterflyeffect@ourcasa.org. Learn more about how you can begin to create safer spaces for the littles in your life.